Hey, everybody from Afro Latina world. I want to introduce to you a wonderful person, a young lady that I have met on Instagram. Her name is Norma Perez. Hey,
Hola.
Norma.
Hola, ¿cómo estás?
Norma, can you let everybody in the group know just a little bit about yourself?
So, well, my name is Norma. I'm also known as Salvi Vegan, which is my business. And I am an Afro descendiente del Salvador. And I am a business owner and vegan as well, vegana. And yeah, I think we'll learn a little bit more as we kind of go through. So
Okay, so Norma, so we had a few conversations in the past, and I think what we really want to learn in Afro Latina world is your roots, right? Which
yeah.
is Afro Salvadorian. That's a conversation that you really don't hear my Salvadorian people out there. So tell
Yeah.
me a little bit of your experience as being an Afro Salvadorian.
So, it's interesting because with this word Afro Salvadorian, Afro descendiente, it's actually something that's new, that's kind of surged up as the years have passed by because there's been such a huge denial, especially in la cultura salvadoreña. And for me, I didn't even learn that I was Afro Salvadoreña until like maybe 2 years after I started my business in 2016. So I learned it in 2018 because I had seen this article that said 95% of the population of San Miguel, El Salvador was of African descent. My mom and dad are from there, from San Miguel. So then I was like, wait, what? So that kind of interested me to like learn a little bit more. And then I started seeing, I posted up on YouTube and I saw some documentaries. And then that's when I started discovering this whole other history that like I wasn't even told about. And everything started to make sense to me, porque desde chiquita, I've always been sort of confused with being, Puerto Rican or mixed with, some with African American or Cuban. Like, so I've always gotten that. Even my mom, me recuerdo que muchas veces le decían like, oh, y el papá de ella es de los afroamericanos, So they would ask her that, my dad, he would say that at work le llamaban el puertorriqueño, you know what I mean? So it's like everything just started to make sense to me. And then that's when I was like, I got to learn this. And then also even just the treatment of people, like for instance, when people would ask me like, oh, ¿de dónde eres? Like, oh, mi familia es del Salvador. Oh, sí. Oh, yo pensé que no, que eras mixteada o algo. So, even that was like, okay, there's something to this, you know what I mean?
Right.
And then also just getting, anti-Blackness, treatment, from whether it was like from even, it's hard to say, from even some familias, that, oh, okay, ella es la trigueña, la morena, they would like kind of like make it kind of, I don't know, not too nice. It was, anyhow, another story, but it just, everything made sense for me when I started to discover this new background that I didn't even know I had. And it was in my 40s, so it's like interesting how I'm learning who I am in my 40s than I ever did in my 20s, which is what everybody, casi toda la gente descubren quién son in their 20s. And I'm here in my 40s and discovering that till now, which never, it's, better late than never, you know what I mean? Pero still, it's been quite a journey, para decirlo, the least, so.
Hey, Norma, have you done your DNA test yet?
I haven't. I know a lot of people have asked me to do it. I actually, one, because of the, of the articles that I read, but I also asked my parents themselves, le pregunté a mi mamá y le dije like, I actually showed her like one of the videos de que vi because I had told her like, oh, mamá, sabía que esto existe. Negros no existen en El Salvador. And I'm like, yo, my dad, like right there, but okay. And so when I showed her the video, it like kind of opened up her eyes, And she told me, well, para decirte, mi tatarabuelo, like our great grandfather from her side was actually Spaniard, and I'm like, okay, that makes sense because on her side of the family, blanquitos, chelitos, ojos azules, verdes, blonde hair, they look white, and then I did the same thing with my dad, and I showed him the video, and he también se quedó callado, but he was like, sí tenemos indigenous is in both sides for sure, but on my dad's side, he did say that there was like some African lineage there too, right, but it was more indigenous, so it's interesting because I do want to do it just to kind of know exactly the percentage, but at the same time, it's like, I know I have it in me, you know what I mean? It's right. Like, as much as people are like, well, no, but you don't look black, but you kind of do, but you kind of don't. So I'm sort of in the field of like, do I really need to know the percentage, or do I already know it just inside, So for me, I mean, I will, I guess, do it, but in a sense, it's kind of like,
it's not no urgency. It's not an urgency. It's something that si se aparece a chance, you'll do it. But yeah, not something that you really need to.
Oh yeah, exacto. So,
Norma, tell me something about your experience in El Salvador that tells you there's an influence of Africaness.
So I was born here, pero cuando fui El Salvador, there's just a lot of things that I noticed. And well, I went when I was 14, so I didn't know back then, but just coming back and now looking back on it, there's so many things that you can see it in nuestra cultura, from like the música, from like la comida, from like the names of things, that we have. Like, for instance, la marimba, es una de nuestros instruments that we have, pero eso, it's, it's African influence. También nuestra horchata, nuestra horchata de morro is actually more closer to the original horchata de chufa, which is actually the tiger nuts. Those are originally from North Africa, and they were brought to Spain, and then from Spain, that horchata was brought to Mexico and all of Latin America, but ours is the more similar one. So it's like, it's there in our, nuestra gastronomía, you know what I mean? There's a place in El Salvador que le llaman El Congo. I'm like, hello. We have San Benito de Palermo, which is one of our black saints. Like, how he get there? Come on now. It's like, so it is evidently there from like the música. There's el baile de la negra sebastiana. There's just so many things that it just still boggles my mind de que la gente todavía esté en ese que no existe. And it's like, está en la comida, está en la música, los instrumentos, the words guineo, that's an African word, you know what I mean? So it's like, it's just interesting how people still just want to be like, no, eso no existe, y me quedo like, está evidente allí, you know what I mean? So I think it's going to be interesting for me. Like, yo quiero ir otra vez, El Salvador, because I haven't gone since I was 14 and I'm 43 now. So para mí, now with this sort of like new foundation of awareness, quiero ir para ver, I know I'm going to see it in such a different light. Obviously, estoy más older, de cuando fui la última vez, pero it's going to be interesting. And I think, obviously, just going to the motherland is always like a fulfilling sort of energy that you get, pero más con este conocimiento. Like, yo quiero ir a visitar todos estos lugares, you know what I mean? Que, like el Congo, quiero ir a, también a donde en Sacaletuca, don't know how to say the word, pero tenemos 2 estatuas de esclavos que tienen allí, que enseñan esa history. So I want to go there too, you know what I mean? And just experience nuestro, mi país in now this sort of new foundation of awareness that que tengo ahorita. So absolutely. It's going to be nice. I can't wait to go. I mean, obviously después de la pandemia, porque tú sabes que, it's a little bit,
la cosa ahora when traveling and everything. It's crazy how we're talking like Spanglish back and forth. I love it.
I do that all the time, and people are like, wait, what did you say? I'm like, okay, hold on, let me switch it up. So
Yeah. It comes natural. Like it's
Yeah.
part of our DNA, like to pa atrás y pa adelante, pa atrás adelante, we don't even realize it. And then we got to repeat ourselves. Y lo que no se encuentra en inglés, lo encuentras en español. Y cuando no lo encuentras en español, lo encuentras en inglés.
Or you do what I do at times, de que en veces me invento las palabras y me quedo like, wait. Y después mi familia me dice, ay, tu pocha.
¿Qué significa eso?
Basically, like you're, Americanized, so it's like, like, you whitey or something like that, because
Yeah. Get it.
like my mind just translates, it's in English but tries to translate in Spanish, but then I end up like adding extra words que no existen y me quedo like, oh gosh, okay.
I'm glad that you brought up too in your conversation about food, because let's transition this great conversation into your upcoming book.
Yes, so I'm super excited. I mean, I started this journey, like I said, in 2016, and for me, my initial thing, I wasn't even thinking of doing a cookbook. Back then, for me, it was like, okay, I'm gonna do a food truck, vegan Salvadorian food truck restaurant. But it wasn't until I discovered my lineage that it just became so much bigger than what I thought, because I also started to see and realize, for instance, like the access to food to people of color. You know what I mean? How you see McDonald's and Burger Kings in many of like the low income areas, but yet you don't see those health food stores, or, they're so far away. So the access to it, veganism can be, some people say, oh, it's easy. It's like, yeah, if you can get access to it, you know what I mean? So I think for me, once I discovered those roots, I wanted to for sure definitely bring in the Afro descendiente knowledge, into not just the cultura, but the comida, as well.
Right.
But also like being able to give that knowledge and give that awareness and give that education a mi gente, you know what I mean? So that they can learn this, and with the cookbooks, because of the fact that I've done, I think about 58 so far of Salvadorian dishes that I've veganized. I'm trying to get to 100. A ver si me sale. But I am like, I want to share this. De primero estaba que no quiero share porque me van a quitar it. Then I was like, you know what? After again, I discovered that history and that foundation, I was like, I need to share this. I need to educate people on la comida, on, the history también, because I do plan to put that too in the book, is to put the history, like for instance, sopa de pata and chanfaina, those are actually African influence también in our foods, so of course I want to give the recipes out, but I also want to bring that education as well into it. So it's going to be sort of like a, education and recipe type of a book, but I want to do 4 of them. So quiero hacer uno de appetizers, savory foods, drinks, a little bit of drinky drinks también, and desserts. So it'll be a 4-part series.
Nice.
So again, it's just, I really want to bring this knowledge to people, and it's exciting, again, with all the sort of negative things that I learned about our history, in a sense, from like the denial of our people being, or certain countries being able to enter into the country to whiten the race, to then it's like, oh, but then these things exist. Like there's all these things that I want to just be able to share and yeah, just bring that awareness, para que la gente sepan, you know what I mean? And for them to accept that this exists and to give us recognition, because still in El Salvador, that recognition is not there. I'm actually part of an organization called AFROOS, which they are doing a lot to bring that recognition and the rights to Afrodescendientes, to El Salvador. So, just being a part of that is such a good feeling, that I feel like I'm making some kind of a difference, through my world of food. Yeah.
That sounds awesome. Yeah. Norma, so now, as far as the book goes, do you have a name for it yet?
Not yet. It's, doing a cookbook is not easy.
Hey,
Or even just a book in general, you know. So I'm kind of looking to some people that I've seen that have done, you know, libros and everything. So I'm still not yet in the sense of like getting a title yet, but I know right now I'm testing a lot of like recipes para que, you know, me salgan bien para cuando that's why I've done a lot of video food content para ver cuando la hacen la gente que me dicen, you know, and then it's like, okay, so it worked out well for them. So I'm tweaking little things here and there with recipes first. So right now I have about, like I said, I have 58 that I've done, but I've perfected about 25 of them so far right now. So I'm still like, you know, kind of going down the line, and I'm still creating more, you know, también. So
what's your favorite dish right now? So far.
My favorite dish is my pollo guisado. Which again, there you go. That one has African influence. Porque a stew, you know, you put all the vegetables and all the meat, and it just, you put it in that tomate sauce is just, whew, it's one of my favorite ones.
Yummy, 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 yummy.
Yeah.
That's actually awesome because I personally, I'm trying to transition into vegan world. And unfortunately, us being Latinos and being Afro Latino at that, it's very difficult because we love our big plates of arroz blanco con sus frijoles of negro or guisado or, you know, it's, and then the big pollo asado or pernil. And it's very hard for me to transition into veganism. Do you have any advice?
Yeah, that's one thing that I hear all the time, that it's like, how did you do this? Because of the fact that, like, even though we have the arroz and we have the frijoles, you know, we have the maíz, which, you know, they're plant-based, you know, there's, you know, vegetables y todo, pero, you know, the meat is the thing that kind of gets to us, or the cheese, especialmente el queso, you know, porque nosotros en El Salvador tenemos un queso que it's very potent, you know, in taste. And so I miss it, but I'm trying to veganize that. So suggestions, I would say experimenting, using things. One of the main ones that a lot of people use is like things like jackfruit, pero también there's also soy pea proteins that are out there. También hongos, you know, certain like mushrooms. Like I know for cuando yo hago mis pupusas revueltas, they usually use chicharrón, ¿verdad? Okay. So the one that I end up using is either an actual soy-based chicharrón that I marinate for 24 hours, and then I fry it up in peanut oil, and then I just lo machuco todo y lo echo con queso. Or I get an oyster mushroom, and I get a fork, and I basically do this to the stem, and then sale todo shredded, and then I basically cook that up with tomatoes and, you know, onions and todo eso, and then I process it in the food processor with cheese, and there you go, my revuelta pupusa de chicharrón. Nice. You know, so it's, I also suggest, there's a couple of products out there. Gardein is a good one to use. They have a lot of like, it literally kind of tastes like the same thing. Like they have a crab cakes, they have fish fillets, they have, you know, ground beef that, you know, you can use. It tastes the same, but el sazón, that's where is the main key. You know, I think for a lot of the foods, as long as que le pongas ese mismo sazón que le dio nuestras mamás y abuelas, it's gonna taste good. It's just being able to substitute the actual meat to one of these things. And I think now in this society que estamos ahorita, it's a little bit more like seen than it was, say, 20 years ago, you know? So again, it's just being able to have access to it is the only thing that I would say. But otherwise, yeah, jackfruit, there's even banana blossoms also that can be used. And then to do pulled pork, they've used jackfruit for that one as well. So but the chicharrón, girl, I wish we were like near each other, because my chicharrones, girl, I'm actually pretty proud of that one, because they come out really good and kind of crunchy, and the people get surprised, you know. So I'm like, okay, I got this one in the vault.
Well, if anytime I'm in Cali, I would definitely hit you up.
Girl,
Okay.
yes, yes,
Me
definitely. I'm gonna
invitas. Y
feed
me
you.
invitas primero. No puedo
Yeah.
invitar sola si me invitas.
Sí, no, yeah, I will feed you everything, girl.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Nima, entonces let's do this. If anyone's interested in contacting you or interested in purchasing your book, or they want to contact you through Instagram, what is your Instagram or Facebook or any social platform that you're on?
Yeah. So for me, literally all my social media platforms is under the Salvi Vegan. So if you just put that on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok too, because I love doing my TikToks. It's all under the Salvi Vegan. Even though now my company, I finally became LLC, so it's the Salvi Vegan LLC. So I'm like, I
Nice.
mean, maybe it's 6 years, but al menos algo, it's slowly getting there. It's slowly getting there. Pero yeah, under the Salvi Vegan. And I usually will post because right now pop-ups I won't do anymore for right now because I am a single person business. So it's a little bit harder. So now what I'm doing is mostly special orders. I'm doing small catering. I'm doing cooking classes. So I am going to be doing cooking classes as well. So that I'm excited. I've done a few of them and it's been actually good feedback.
Where are you doing the classes? On Instagram?
Virtually. Yeah, virtually. So like Zoom.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So you
yeah.
sign up at the Instagram, like you have like a sign up list, or how does it work?
So basically what I am going to do is I will be announcing. So I'll put like a post, like a flyer. So I think this week coming up, I'm going to post the next one coming up and I'll say, hey, here's the link. Just go ahead and sign up and it'll be on this date. So I usually will announce when I do the cooking classes. And then when it comes to special orders, they can just go ahead and email me. And usually all my information is on all my social medias. And my website will be up shortly. So I'm still working on that so that they can actually contact me through my website as well.
What area are you doing food services?
It'll be in California, which is where I'm at. I live in the area of Rancho Cucamonga, which is San Bernardino County. But I can travel. Is just obviously, I usually will do, but it would be or have to be within like 60 miles. I don't mind driving, but again, with delivery, like yesterday I did a catering and it was in Perez, which is about 50 minutes from where I live. So I will travel to give you your food.
So you actually do events and all that good stuff, right?
Well, no, events meaning like I'll do like small caterings. So I will like make the food and I will go and deliver it, whether it's a wedding.
Okay.
So I did a wedding 2 weeks ago. I have another wedding next month. And then I have another event coming up, but it's usually like small where I just go and deliver and then that's it,
Right, you do delivery. You don't stay there with a crew. You don't do that whole process, or you just go, mira, quita tu comida, me voy, bye, let me get my money, I'm out.
Sí, porque como yo estoy solita,
Yeah,
like I don't have a team. And I think that's been sort of like the struggle for me because of the fact that I am by myself. Eventually I know it's going to get there to where I will have a team, but because of the fact that I am by myself, I'm pretty much just going by what I'm able to do. And so for right now, it'll just be like, acá está la comida, bye, y me voy.
Yes.
But for right now,
it's steps, but I know you're gonna get there. So, yes, ma'am. Y entonces vamos a cerrar. Ya diste las plataformas. You know what? Tell us a little bit about the organization that you're in that serves for the educational part of Afro Salvadorians. Share with the group where, if they're interested in that, where do they contact you, or does it have a platform, or what's going on with that?
Yes. So AFROOS basically is an organization from El Salvador. They can go onto Instagram, I'll give you the, so you can put it, but it's AFROOSSV. And then on Facebook, también the same thing. And they do so much. Like right now, they're really trying to get in laws, you know, to bring that recognition, because again, there's the fact, I'll say this, the last census that was done was like in 1930. And that's when you knew of a certain amount of Afrodescendientes. It didn't happen again until 2007.
Wow.
So within that whole period of time, everybody was like, no, somos salvadoreños, somos salvadoreños, that's all we are. So again, hence that denial, you know what I mean? And then with that 2007, 7,441 se auto reconocieron como like, yes, this is what we have, you know what I mean? And then in 2014, AFROOS, along with other organizations, created El Día de Afrodescendiente Salvadoreño in August. And that started happening in 2014. So they've really tried to bring that recognition and bring that to have rights and awareness, and especially bringing rights into it, you know. So they've just done so much. But on Facebook as well, they're you know, the organization is on there, and I do know that we have like a GoFundMe also to help out, you know, the organization. So, you know, I can give you all that information también.
That's great. I'll post it on the YouTube channel. Absolutely. I think it's extremely important for all of us, Afro in all over the world, to know the different cultures, ethnicities, nationalities. It's extremely important in the awareness. This is why Afro Latina World was built. Thank you so much, Norma, for your time. I appreciate you, and I'm so happy that you did that LLC, because it's much needed. We support you 100% here in Afro Latina World. It's much needed.
Thank you. Muchísimas gracias.
Thank you so much, everybody in Afro Latina World. I'll see you next time, and thank you again, Norma. See you guys.
Great. Bye.
Bye.